I see you. I woke up. I looked to my left. I saw Ed Koch, who had been my nemesis. And I thought I had died and gone straight to hell without an asbestos suit. I saw Cardinal O'Connor in the corner with the extremunction vest. That's the death vestments. When you're gone, they're going to say the final prayer. That's how close I came to being eliminated from this earth on June 19th of 1992 while coming to WABC to do the morning show at that time.
Wow.
And you talk about threats, right? Like I saw Mondami yesterday crying, I'm being threatened, I have to have armed guards. Let me tell you something, Mondami. Why don't you use social workers? Because you don't want cops in the city. Why don't you get some social workers to protect you? That's what you're saying you'd rather have than cops. You think anyone has ever been threatened more than Curtis Sliwa?
Illuminati is a thing you need to watch out for. They want to depopulate and save us so much more. World domination, I'll get into that later. I'm hardcore, fierce and sexy. You're just a hater. You deserve the ridicule because you're an absolute zero. I'm the keeper of the chalice, a rock and roll hero. I'm not an idiot nobody listens to, because I'm not a failure in life like you. Let's talk about the gates and the mark of the beast and the orgies in the streets at the Catholic feasts and Bill and Hillary's human trafficking ring. And George Soros got the money to pay for everything. Socialism is for losers, working for the devil. Chumps that can't fight, they ain't on my level. It takes an evil one to try to debunk and doubt it, so I'd rather die than stop talking about it. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out for the Illuminati.
Well, welcome to the MC Too Tall Show. I am your hardcore, fierce, and sexy host, the one and only master of sound quality, MC Too Tall. And if you want to make really good videos like I do, I don't spend tens of thousands of dollars, and I shouldn't have to, and you shouldn't have to either. Video Leap is the app that I use, and I work off my iPad to make fabulous videos like the one you're looking at right now. Now let's talk about Curtis Sliwa. The courageous Curtis Sliwa. He stood up to high-profile mob figures. He was almost killed on orders by said high-profile mob figures, and he's still around. He looked death right in the eyes. And he's still here. And he's running for mayor, and he should be the next mayor of New York City. He cares about New York, and he's got the most experience showing that he actually cares about New York City. If Zoran Mondani had his way, the United States would be completely separate from New York City, and New York City would be like a socialist country with bread lines wrapped around the block, with many people on those bread lines going home without their bread, even if they had bread to spend on the bread. We would have shortages after shortages after shortages. That's not the way to go. The best way to go is to lower city property tax. And with the money saved, those property owners can then pass the savings on to their tenants, and those tenants can either save up to buy property of their own or put it right back into the market, and the market flourishes. That's how that works. But you got Zoran Mamdani living in a fantasy land. Now, these city-run grocery stores that he says would cost tens of millions of dollars, it turns out to be strictly fantasy. And the money he thought was sitting there in a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow in his fantasy world turns out to be something that is put forth in the form of tax breaks. So it's not money that's already there and given to you. If you're a business owner, it's a tax break, which means it's money you already have that you no longer have to spend, that you can invest in some other way. In other words, if you're a business owner, you already have this money that he wanted to put his hands on to create these monstrosities, these abominations of stores, which it would only be one in each borough, and they would be in these supposed food deserts, which I think is more liberal language to say that the measurement of classism depends on who supports Republicans and who supports Democrats. The Democrats have never been the poor man's party. They've claimed they were. They claim they were, but they were never really the poor man's party. These were the rich slave owners who seceded from the Union, started the Civil War, got disgruntled because they were blatant sore losers of the Civil War, formed an illegal operation called the Ku Klux Klan, and took their frustrations out of freed slaves by lynching them. These are the same people who blame Republicans for the oppression of black people, but once they get the black vote, predominantly black neighborhoods are never taken care of by the Democrats. It's sort of like mental slavery in a mental plantation, owned and subsidized by the Democrats. Well, I should say owned by the Democrats and subsidized by the people they own through said mental slavery. And socialism is just more of that. So, people like Zoran Mamdani, who actually had the gall to say Bill de Blasio was the best mayor in all of New York City. I don't know, crime was down when Giuliani was mayor, but he claims Bill de Blasio was a better mayor than Rudy Giuliani. Let me tell you, Ed Koch was a better mayor than Bill de Blasio. Dare I say even David Dinkins was a better mayor than Bill de Blasio. And David Dinkins was not such a great mayor. He was so worried about his dividends from inner city cable that he ignored the city and let the city burn down in the Crown Heights riots. And he was so weak, he thanked the city for not rioting instead of crediting the police force for keeping the peace. And Bill de Blasio was that much worse. He's the type of guy to publicly berate police officers for doing their job. He's a person that went out of his way to put the logo of grifter group Black Lives Matter out in the street in front of Trump Tower, just so he could have a pissing contest with the President of the United States. But Zoran Mamdani claims that is the best mayor. That means you're going to be somebody like him, but not even as, quote, good, unquote, as him. That scares me. But I'm not too scared because I'm pretty confident that courageous Curtis Sliwa will be the next mayor of New York. You got to look at the other two candidates. Cuomo says he's contemplating. He's not fully in running as an independent, but he's going to run because he's of that ilk where they lust for power. Eric Adams, who should be embarrassed by how he ran this city, is not, and he chose to run as an independent because he thought he would not stand a chance against Cuomo. And Cuomo was so confident that he'd win the Democratic nomination that he didn't even campaign, and he fell flat on his face. So it's people like Adams and Cuomo that created Mamdani. It's time for something different. It's time to vote red and elect the guy with the red beret on his head. Let me tell you something. That red beret stands for boots on the ground. It stands for Curtis Sliwa's dedication to public safety for 4 decades. So, to be distracted by that and say he's not going to run this city right because he wears a red beret is stupid. If anything, that red beret represents his dedication to public safety. That is the symbol of an organization he founded in the 70s called the Guardian Angels that kept the city safer than even the NYPD during the early days of the Guardian Angels. And you could look it up. It is straight up fact. Ed Koch went after him hardcore, claiming he was a vigilante and a rogue and this and that, when all he wanted was for our streets and subways to be safe. And to this day, he still wants our streets and subways to be safe. So, if you want our streets and subways to be safe, the one and only guy to vote for is that guy with the red beret, Curtis Sliwa. And by God, this man should win. It should be a no-brainer, folks. It should be a no-brainer. This concludes this episode of the MC Too Tall Show. Respect God. Watch out for the Illuminati. Follow and share this content. Tell all your friends about me. Stay strong. Keep kicking that sling. It's your boy in the building, hip-hop legend, recording engineer, underground rock and roll hero, MC Too Tall. Be good.